Hello everybody, hope you're all doing fantastic today. Dana, hello, how is you? Welcome in, welcome in. I have myself a cup of coffee, what do you have? Apologies for the late start. It is currently raining. It's basically been raining the whole day. So it was kind of hard to keep up with what time of day I'm at. Also, all this rain is making me feel a little lazy. Better grab a bottle of posh Coke very soon. Ah, posh Coke, you say? Here we go. There we go. I'm actually a little disappointed with myself. I was hoping that I would have made a little bit more of a dent in this book. But at least I'm over the halfway mark. So... how's my leg? My leg is feeling much better today. Still a little bit numb, but not quite as bad. Now if I stand on my toes, those calf exercises, doesn't hurt so much. And when I do squats, then it doesn't hurt so much. Still hurts on the squat. Very much. A little bit much, but not half as much as it did yesterday. So, yeah. Leg is feeling a lot better. Funky painkillers. I am using a painkiller, but not for killing the pain. I'm taking half a Desperin to help with the removal of the cause of the pain. Slayer, hello, welcome in. How is you? I love that emote. What? NASA Sparkle. That is so cute. That's an adorable emote. Nice. Nice VHS. You can watch a movie. Nice. Tape! So yeah, leg is feeling better. Obviously the prayers helped a lot too, because it was like almost day and night afterwards. Because that day I asked you guys to pray for me. When I got up that day, I was limping. Like seriously limping. And then the next morning, after I asked you guys to pray for me, I didn't even limp. And I only noticed that I didn't limp once I was standing in the kitchen, making me my first cup of coffee in the morning. 7-day streak, GG Slayer, let's go. Hooray for the fish and whale of a tail. Meat deeds. Let's go. So yeah, God is good that I can recover so quickly. I am... I'm not feeling like reading this book today. Gonna be honest, but it's partially because of the rain, partially because still recovering from the leg, because when you're injured, you're tired. That's just how it is. So yeah, let us do our quick prayer, and then we can either chat or get cracking with the book. Me personally, I would rather chat, but you guys are here for a reading of Moby Dick, so I suppose I'll have to do that at some point. Game on! Indeed, Stata. Indeed. Oh my goodness. Also, Hubs has picked up a cold somehow, somewhere. And when he gets sick, I usually get sick as well. So there may be a possibility that either next week or the week after, or partially somewhere in between, I'm gonna start getting sick. I will be taking a few days off should that happen, so just a heads up. You didn't hear how I got hurt? If you don't mind telling again. Slayer, it's the stupidest thing. I got a leg injury from doing nothing. Literally. Last weekend, this weekend past, me and Hubs were absolute sloths. We were sleeping, basically, the weekend away. So when I got up Sunday afternoon, my leg told me, ouch. So I literally got injured from sleeping too much. Blood circulation, or rather lack of blood circulation, is what caused my injury. Go back in time and pray, like John Connor. We're getting some, oh my goodness, what is those movies? Terminator references here from Data. There we go. So yeah. Now, I have to be careful, because this rain makes one lazy. You didn't break your foot by kicking the dog for trying to eat the food in your hand like my great aunt? Thankfully, no. I wouldn't even want to kick a dog because they are tougher than I am. That's a fact. If I were to kick one, it would be out of self-defense, and even then I would try using other tools aside from my foot. That's for sure. They are solid little beings, those four-legged furry friends of ours. You wake up numb? Oh no! That is weird, like you feel your whole body is numb? When I got this leg injury, my leg felt numb. It feels so alien. So strange. Like, what's wrong with you? Why are you feeling this way, leg? What? Anyway, I figured out what's wrong with it. Poor circulation because of inactivity for way too long on the weekend. Yeah. But anyway, enough about my sore little peg leg. Okay, thankfully it's not a peg leg. But enough of my little leg. Let us do our quick prayer and get I don't know, keep chatting or get started with the story. I don't know why, because I bought an amazing mattress a few years ago. That is interesting. I heard that he was stealing food from the young kids and she baited it into that. I had to go to the doctor. Also, that happened 30-40 years ago. Wow. Emma are not cheap. Stealing food from the young kids. Yeah, and kids have no like no shield against dogs. Which is the other thing. People who have dogs, like there are some people, not all people, but there are some people who don't think their dog can be dangerous. Like the one place my dad went to work at, installing kitchen cabinets. They had a dog. My dad asked them to put the dog away because he's afraid the dog is gonna bite him. And the customer refused to put the animal away. And what happened? His dog bit my dad. My dad is a dog lover. He's always surrounded himself by dogs, so he's not afraid of dogs, but he could definitely tell that dog is eyeing him the wrong way. Yeah. No doggo tonight. Yeah, it's insane. Like, why, if somebody asks you politely to put your dog away, whether it be because they're generally afraid of dogs or fear of biting or whatever other reason, I don't understand why people don't just do it. So strange. It's like they don't realize those sharp teeth can really do serious damage. But anyway. Caught yourself a scooter? Nice! Let's go. Do one more sip. Quick prayer and then I'll read that chat of yours. Otherwise I'm not gonna get to the quick prayer, and it's the most important thing of this stream, because we have to say thank you to the Lord for this beautiful day that He blessed us with. Thank you, Lord, for this beautiful day that You blessed us with. Thank You for family, friends, and community. Lord, we pray, or I pray, that You bless everyone who joins me here today or who watches the VOD. And Lord, we pray for those who are currently struggling with their health. We pray that You touch them with Your healing hand, bless them, their families, their friends, their support and their medical health, their medical support, Lord, with strength, endurance, and wisdom. Lord, we pray for all the countries that are currently struggling with turmoil and violence in their streets. We pray that You keep Your hand of safety over individuals and their friends and families, Lord. We pray that should any of them find themselves in danger, that You would lead them to a safe place, O Lord, and keep them from danger. We pray that You shine Your light of peace over these lands, Lord, as we pray for peace over Israel as well. May your shining light of peace shine not only on us, but on all over the world. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. Have you seen the clip of the guy riding a bike on the street, pepper spraying a dog running straight at him? No, I have not seen that one. Naaman! Scooter, back in the house. I've not seen that clip. But yeah, pepper spray is powerful stuff. And dogs' noses are fairly sensitive. So yeah, I bet it would work on a dog. If your aim is right. A knobbed starfish. A red knobbed starfish. Not sure when it happened. I'm assuming it was in the last month or so. Oh, so it's a new thing that happened? Yeah, with everybody having cameras nowadays, stuff like that, I'm sure it would be easy to catch, to record. Let you see. We shall let you see. Barracuda! Alrighty. Let us see if I have everything set up right. Probably not. Ooh, okay, no, apparently I do. Let's go. Just get the camera a little bit closer. There we go. Nice. So we have a very short chapter here, and then Stubbs' supper, which is going to be a long one. No, it's semi-long. It's a good couple of pages. And we have another short-ish one. And another short one. We seem to be having a whole bunch of short ones. I don't mind a whole bunch of short ones. In fact, if all of them could be like short, that would be great. So it's not so tiring to read. But I'm first going to finish my coffee. And I will be having my break 30 minutes later today because of me starting so late today. Alrighty. Let us start then, shall we? Chapter 63. The Crotch. Out of the trunk the branches grew, out of them the twigs. So in productive subjects grow the chapters. The crotch alluded to on a previous page deserves independent mention. It is a notched stick of a peculiar form, some 2 feet in length, which is perpendicularly inserted into the starboard gunwale near the bow, for the purpose of furnishing a rest for the wooden extremity of the harpoons. Golden red-eye rod, let's go. Whose other naked, barbed end sloping projects from the prow. Thereby the weapon is instantly at hand to its hurler, who snatches it up readily from its rest as a backwoodsman swings his rifle from the wall. It is customary to have 2 harpoons reposing in the crotch, respectively called the first and second irons. But these 2 harpoons, each by its own cord, are both connected with the line, the object being this: to dart them both, if possible, one instantly after the other into the same whale, so that if in the coming drag one should draw out, the other may still retain a hold. It is a doubling of the chances, but it very often happens that owing to the instantaneous violent convulsion running of the whale upon receiving the first iron, it becomes impossible for the harpooner, however lightning-like in his movements, to pitch the second iron into him. Nevertheless, as the second iron is already connected with the line, and the line is running, hence that weapon must, at all events, be anticipatingly tossed out of the boat, somehow and somewhere, else the most terrible jeopardy would involve all hands. Tumbled into the water, it accordingly is in such cases. The spare coils of boxline mentioned in the preceding chapter making this feat in most instances prudently practicable. But this critical act is not always unattended with the saddest and most fatal casualties. Furthermore, you must know that when the second iron is thrown overboard, it thenceforth becomes a dangling, sharp-edged terror, skittishly curvetting into both boat and whale, entangling the lines or cutting them, and making a prodigious sensation in all directions. Nor in general is it possible to secure it again until the whale is fairly captured and a corpse. Consider now how it must be in the case of 4 boats all engaging one unusually strong, active and knowing whale, when owing to these qualities in him, as well as to the 1,000 concurring accidents in such an audacious enterprise. 8 or 10 loose second irons may be simultaneously dangling about him, for of course each boat is supplied with several harpoons to bend on to the line should the first one be ineffectually darted without recovery. All these particulars are faithfully narrated here, as they will not fail to elucidate several most important, however intricate passages in scenes hereafter to be painted. Cool. So now we know what a crotch is. Chapter 64. Stubbs' dinner. Yum. Stubbs' whale had been killed some distance from the ship. It was a calm, so forming a tandem of 3 boats, we commenced the slow business of towing the trophy to the Pequod. And now, as we 18 men with our 36 arms and 180 thumbs and fingers slowly toiled hour after hour upon that inert, sluggish corpse in the sea, and it seemed hardly to budge at all. Except at long intervals, good evidence was hereby furnished of the enormousness of the mass we moved. For upon the great canal of Hung Ho, or whatever they call it in China, 4 or 5 laborers on the footpath will draw a bulky, freighted junk at the rate of a mile an hour. But this grand argosy we towed heavily forged along as if laden with pig lead in bulk. Darkness came on, but 3 lights up and down in the Pequod's main rigging dimly guided our way. Cutie patootie, hello, welcome in, how is you? Hope you're doing well today. Thank you for that shouty data. Till drawing nearer, we saw Ahab drawing one of several more lanterns over the bulwarks. Vacantly eyeing the heaving whale for a moment, he issued the usual orders for securing it for the night, and then handing his lantern to a seaman, went his way into the cabin and did not come forward again until morning. Drakabro, hello! Welcome in, how is you? You are finally able to fix the Getting Between Worlds issue on the Christ Tale SMP server. Nice! GG's. Let's go. Hypey hype. So now you can make new worlds and let people go looting without the need of stupid looter mods. That is cool. How did you do that? Is it itself a mod, or is it just a code or something? 'Cause I think you said something about code or something. And also, how is you? It is sadly a mod. Ah. Bah humbug. Your cola tastes like aftershave. Data, how do you know what aftershave tastes like? It's hilarious. Donuts. Alrighty. I shan't. But that's still funny though. Coke tasting like aftershave. I first tried doing permissions, that didn't go well. And then tried the permissions mod. That didn't go well. So I went looking for a mod that fixes teleporters so they can go between worlds, and I found one. Nice. And it seems to be something that stays updated with Hightail. Well, that is cool. Here, have a star. You worked hard, you deserve it. But yeah, if it stays updated with Hightail, that would be great. That will be one thing to worry about less. Tesco delivery van guy. Tesco delivery van guy. You're doing good. Yay! And I bet you're happy because you got that thing to work. I'm trying to work on the first video finally for Christale. So just gotta do editing still and get like 5 videos set up to release once a week. Nice. Very, very nice. Moorish idol. Let's go. They're pretty fishes, but they're kind of weird looking. Tesco. Ah, an online grocery service. Click and collect. Or home delivery. Less specialized. Whoosh rapid delivery. That whoosh sounds dangerous. Then I'll have 5 weeks of buffer for more content. I can then maybe set up to go out twice a week. Ooh, nice. It sounds like a solid plan. A very solid plan indeed. Whoosh is very quick. Yeah, we also have those guys that deliver from shops, and they also have like a where they can deliver within X amount of time or whatever like that. The problem I have with that is the delivery guys tend to drive very dangerously, putting not just themselves at risk, but everybody else around them. As long as they don't try to put preservatives into the food, might be great, but that crap does not work in the US unless things are close by. But by that time, it's better to just buy from farmers. Yeah. Well, I suppose it depends on what you buy, right? But yeah, food-wise, if you can buy from a farmer, do that. Dreka, I am not a fan of this book. I have actually lost interest in this book. The only reason why I'm still reading it is because I want to stop quitting things midway. I have given myself permission to skip certain chapters. That's helped a lot. So, yeah. I struggle to get back to this book, and especially when chat is way more interesting than the book I'm supposed to be reading. Yeah, that is my plan one day to read the Bible. I want to have like a Afrikaans set of videos of Afrikaans Bible reading. Because I have, I think, 2 translations in Afrikaans. Maybe more. I think, no, maybe more. I think I have more than just 2. I have a Bible from my grandma that's got like 4 books in it at once. So yeah. The Bible has way crazier stories than the books we can get from the store in most cases. And it doesn't go off on strange tangents. It's got nothing to do with the story. That's for sure. Because that is what's made me upset with this book. You're reading along and you're following the story, then you get to a chapter and we're talking about this color and that history, and we're trying to make whale fishing seem noble somehow, and it's got nothing to do with the story at hand. If you want to give me a history lesson to help me understand the story I'm reading, that's perfectly fine. But if you just want to go off on a tangent and make it extra long unnecessarily, not only did you lose me, but you're starting to tick me off. And that is exactly what happened in this book. This book. You see that name? This book is the first and last Herman Melville book that I will ever read. Thank you, but no thank you. Once is enough. It's just like anime and flashbacks. Or a Family Guy episode with a random flashback. Yeah. Just play the video game. Yeah. I painted my cousin's... Your cousin's blue with very heavy paint, and... As a kid, we spent 3 hours in the bath being scrubbed. Oh no! That's hilarious. It's called Subnautica. You know what? Don't tempt me. I will. Do not tempt me. I will. But I did set out to finish this book. It is in my plan to at least try. I will not give up this easily. I will try. Maybe the original audience had a longer attention span. The attention span is not the problem. It's when you go off on weird, strange, not part of the story and not helpful at all tangents that is the problem here. I am very disappointed with this book. Like, I mean, you've seen me. I've read through like 4 or 5 chapters back to back without a problem. In the concentration department. Or the attention span department. But as soon as I get a chapter where it's got nothing to do with the story, it wants to make it game over for this book. Did they repaint themselves later and then became the Blue Man Group? That would explain where the Blue Man Group came from. All they had was radio? Yeah, they had radio. I'm sure they had electricity by the time. They had telegrams. Yeah, I'm sure they had radio. Like very basic radios? Maybe 1 or 2 stations. I got a book saga I recommend. The Seventh Tower. It's a story I enjoyed reading. That sounds 10,000 times more interesting than this guy's tangents. Yeah, Datamek painted them when they were kids, and they wanted to go back to it as adults. Oh yeah. Definitely. That definitely makes sense to me. Alrighty, well, Stubb has captured a whale and they are busy towing it back to the Pequod, so I suppose we should carry on since this is part of the story and it was quite an exciting previous chapter. The one we ended on yesterday, well, actually the second last one we ended on yesterday was quite exciting with all the descriptions of how they caught the whale. It's not Moby Dick they caught, it's just some other random poor whale. But now they've got food. Or meat, or whatever. At least, that's what this gives me the idea of. Okay, so Ahab went into his cabin. Cool. Back in with the story. Alright. Though in overseeing the pursuit of this whale, Captain Ahab had evinced his customary activity, to call it so. Yet now that the creature was dead, some vague dissatisfaction or impatience or despair seemed working in him, as if the sight of that dead body reminded him that Moby Dick was yet to be slain. And though 1,000 other whales were brought to his ship, all that would not one jot advance his grand monomaniac object. Very soon you would have thought from the sound of the Pequod's decks that all hands were preparing to cast anchor in the deep, for heavy chains are being dragged along the deck and thrust rattling out of the portals. Another bunch of small writing that I will completely ignore, thank you very much. But by those clanking links, the vast corpse itself, not the ship, it is to be moored, tied by the head to the stern, and by the tail to the bows. The whale now lies with its back hull close to the vessels, and seen through the darkness of the night, which obscured the spars and rigging aloft. The two, ship and whale, seemed yoked together like colossal bullocks, whereof one reclines while the other remains standing. If moody Ahab was now all If moody Ahab was now all quiescence, at least so far as could be known on deck, Stubb, his second mate, flushed with conquest, betrayed an unusual but still good-natured excitement. Such an unwonted bustle was he in that the said Starbuck, his official superior, quietly resigned to him for the time the sole management of affairs. One small helping cause of all the liveliness in Stubb was soon made strangely manifest. Stubb was a high liver. He was somewhat intemperately fond of the whale as a flavorish thing to his palate. Yep. And they're gonna cut a chunk out of that poor guy. A steak! A steak! Here I sleep! You, Daggoo! Overboard you go and cut me one from his small. Yep, there we go. He wants a steak. Not a beef steak. Not a lamb steak. Not a venison steak. No, a whale steak. The one and only Creepy Pro. Welcome in, good sir. Thank you for the follow. God bless you too. Whoops. Steak. Here be it known that though these wild fishermen do not, as a general thing, and according to the great military maxim, make the enemy defray the current expenses of the war, at least before realizing the proceeds of the voyage, yet now and then you find some of these Nantucketers who have a genuine relish for that particular part of the sperm whale, designated by Stubb, comprising the tapering extremity of the body. About midnight that steak was cut and cooked, and lighted by 2 lanterns of sperm oil. Stubb stoutly stood up to his permacetti supper at the capstan head, as if that capstan were a sideboard. Nor was Stubb the only banqueter on whale's flesh that night, mingling their mumblings with his own mastications. Big words. Thousands on thousands of sharks swarming around the dead Leviathan, smackingly feasted on its fatness. The few sleepers below in their bunks were often startled by the sharp slapping of their tails against the hull, within a few inches of the sleepers' hearts. Peering over the side, you could just see them, as before you heard them, wallowing in the sullen black waters, and turning over on their backs as they scooped out huge globular pieces of the whale, of the bigness of a human head. That's scary. That is big. Those are big chunks. This particular feat of the sharks seemed all but miraculous. How at such an apparently unassailable surface they contrived to gouge out such symmetrical mouthfuls remains a part of the universal problem of all things. The mark they thus leave on the whale may best be likened to the hollow made by a carpenter in countersinking for a screw. Though, amid all the smoking horror and diabolism of a sea fight, sharks will be seen longingly gazing up to the ship's decks, like hungry dogs round a table where red meat is being carved, ready to bolt down every killed man that is tossed to them. And though, while the valiant butchers over the deck table are thus cannibally carving each other's live meat with carving knives all gilded and tasseled, the sharks, also, with their jewel-hilted mouths, are quarrelsomely carving away under the table at the dead meat. And though, were you to turn the whole affair upside down, it would still be pretty much the same thing. That is to say, a shocking, sharkish business enough for all parties. And though sharks also are the invariable outriders of all slave ships crossing the Atlantic, systematically trotting alongside to be handy in case a parcel is to be carried anywhere, or a dead slave to be decently buried. And though one or two other like instances might be set down, touching the said terms, places, and occasions when sharks do most socially congregate and most hilariously feast, yet is there no conceivable time or occasion when you will find them in such countless numbers, and in gayer or more jovial spirits, than around a dead sperm whale, moored by night to a whale ship at sea. If you have never seen that sight, then suspend your decision about the propriety of devil worship and the expediency of conciliating the devil. That is quite the picture he's painting there. It must be quite the bloody affair. But as yet, Stubb heeded not the mumblings of the banquet that was going on so nigh him, no more than the sharks heeded the smacking of his own Epicurean lips. "Cook, cook, where's that old fleece?" he cried at length, widening his legs still further, as if to form a more secure base for his supper, and at the same time darting his fork into the dish, as if stabbing with his lance. "Cook, you cook! Sail this way, cook!" The old black, not in any very high glee at having been previously roused from his warm hammock at a most unreasonable hour, came shambling along from his galley. For, like many old blacks, there was something the matter with his knee-pans, which he did not keep well scoured like his other pants. This old fleece, as they call him, came shuffling and limping along, assisting his step with his tongs, which, after a clumsy fashion, were made of straightened iron hoops. This old ebony floundered along, and in obedience to the word of command, came to a dead stop at the opposite side of Stubb's sideboard, when with both hands folded before him and resting on his two-legged cane, he bowed his arched back still further over, at the same time sideways inclining his head, so as to bring his best ear to play. "Cook," said Stubb, rapidly lifting a rather reddish morsel to his mouth. "Don't you think the steak is rather overdone? You've been beating this steak too much, cook. It's too tender. Don't I always say that to be good, a whale steak must be tough? There are those sharks now over the side. Don't you see they prefer it tough and rare? What a shindy they are kicking up. Cook, go and talk to 'em. Tell 'em they are welcome to help themselves civilly and in moderation, but they must keep quiet. Blast me if I can hear my own voice. Away, cook, and deliver my message. Here, take this lantern," snatching one from his sideboard. "Now then, go and preach to them." He wants the cook to go and tell the sharks to be civil? Oh my word. This guy is a weirdo. Sullenly taking the offered lantern, old Fleece limped across the deck to the bulwarks, and then, with one hand drooping his light lower over the sea, so as to get a good view of his congregation. With the other hand he solemnly flourished his tongues, and leaning far over the side in a mumbling voice began addressing the sharks, while Stubb, softly crawling behind, overheard all that was said. This is gonna be an interesting one. You're a Twitch weirdo? Cool. Fellow critters, I still ordered here to say that you must stop that damn noise. Fellow critters, I so ordered here to say that you must stop that damn noise there. You hear? Stop that damn smacking of the lips. Massa Stubb say that you can fill your damn bellies up to the hatchings. But by gore, you must stop that damn racket. Oh my goodness, he took it so literally. Oh my goodness, the poor guy. I'm sure Stubb was just being a troll here. Shut up, dog. Cook! Here interposed Stubb, accompanying the word with a sudden slap on the shoulder. Cook! Why, damn your eyes, you mustn't swear that way when you're preaching. That's no way to convert sinners, Cook. He is a blimmin' troll. Oh my word, poor Cook. Who dat? Then preach to him yourself, sullenly turning to go. No, Cook, go on, go on. Book's getting good. It is. But not before it got me really riled up. Well then, beloved fellow critters. Right, exclaimed Stubb, approvingly. Coax him to it. Try that. And Fleece continued. Do you is all sharks, and by nature very ferocious. Yet I say to you, fellow critters, that ferociousness, top that damn slapping of the tail. How you think to hear? Suppose you keep up such a damn slapping and biting there. Cook, cried Stubb, collaring him. I won't have that swearing. Talk 'em gentlemanly. Once more the sermon proceeded. This cook is hilarious. Your ferociousness, fellow critters, I don't blame you so much for. That is nature and can't be helped. But to govern that wicked nature, that is different. You is sharks, certain, but if you govern the shark in you, why then you be angel? For all angel is nothing more than the shark well governed. Now look here, brethren, just try wasn't to be civil and helping yourselves from that whale. Don't be treating the blubber out your neighbor's mouth, I say. Is not one shark doed right as tober to that whale? And by gore, none of you has the right to that whale. That whale belonged to someone else. I know some of you has very bright mouth, bigger than others, but then the bring mouth sometimes has the small bellies. so that the brightness of the mouth is not so swaller wad, but to bit off the blubber for the small fry of sharks that can't get into the Scrooge to help themselves. Well done, old fleece, cried Stubb. That's Christianity. Go on. No use going on. The damn villains will keep scourging and slapping each other, Massa Stubb. They don't hear one word. No use of preaching to such damn gluttons as you call 'em. Till their bellies is full, and their bellies is bottomless, and when they do get 'em full, they won't hear you then. For then they sink in the sea, go fast to sleep on the coral, and can't hear nothing at all, no more, forever and ever. Oh man, Fleece is cool. Upon my soul, I'm about of the same opinion. So give the benediction, Fleece, and I'll away to my supper. Upon this, Fleece, holding both hands over the fishy mob, raised his shrill voice and cried, "Cast, fellow critters! Kick up the dumbest row, and as ever you can. Fill your damn bellies till they bust, and then die." "Now, cook," said Stubb, resuming his supper at the capstan. "Stand just where you stood before, there, over against me, and pay particular attention." "All attention," said Fleece, again stooping over the tongs in the desired position. "Well," said Stubb, helping himself freely meanwhile, "I shall now go back to the subject of this steak. In the first place, how old are you, cook?" "What that do with the steak?" said the old black testily. "Silence! How old are you, cook?" "Let's go!" "About 90, they say," he gloomily muttered. "And you have lived in this world hard upon 100 years, cook, and you don't know yet how to cook a whale steak?" Rapidly bolting another mouthful of the last word, so that morsel seemed a continuation of the question. "Where were you born, cook?" "In the hatchway, in ferry boat, going over the Roanoke." "Born in a ferry boat? That's queer too. I want to know what country you were born in, cook." "Didn't I say the Roanoke country?" he cried sharply. "No, you didn't, cook, but I'll tell you what I'm coming to, cook. You must go home and be born over again. You don't know how to cook a whale steak yet." So he must restart his life like in a game? And that's not possible, but okay. "Bless my soul, if I cook another one," he growled angrily, turning around to depart. "Come back here, cook. Here, hand me those tongs. Now take that bit of steak there, and tell me if you think that steak cook as it should be. Take it, I say," holding the tongs toward him. "Take it and taste it." Faintly smacking his withered lips over it for a moment, the old negro muttered, "Best cooked steak I ever taste. Juicy, very juicy." "Cook," said Stubb, squaring himself once more, "do you belong to the church?" "Passed one once in Cape Town," said the old man sullenly. "And you have once in your life passed the Holy Church in Cape Town, where you doubtless overheard a holy parson addressing his hearers as his beloved fellow creatures, have you, Cook? And yet you come here and tell me such a dreadful lie as you did just now, eh? Said Stubb. Where do you expect to go to, Cook? Go to bed very soon, he mumbled, half turning as he spoke. This guy just wanna sleep. Avast, heave to. I mean when you die, Cook. It's an awful question. Now what's your answer? When this old black man dies, said the negro slowly, changing his whole air and demeanor. He hisself won't go nowhere, but some blessed angel will come and fetch him. Fetch him? How? In a coach and four, as they fetched Elijah? And fetch him where? Up there, said Fleece, holding his tongue straight over his head and keeping it there very solemnly. So then, you expect to go into our main top, do you, Cook, when you are dead? But don't you know the higher you climb, the colder it gets? Main top, eh? Didn't say that all, said Fleece again in the sulks. You said up there, didn't you? And now look yourself and see where your tongues are pointing. But perhaps you expect to get into heaven by crawling through the lubber's hole, Cook. But no, Cook. You don't get there except you go the regular way, round by the rigging. It's a tacklish business, but must be done. Or else it's no go. But none of us are in heaven yet. Drop your tongues, Cook, and hear my orders. Do you hear? Hold your hat in one hand and clap the other atop of your heart when I'm giving you orders, Cook. What that your heart there? That's your gizzard. Aloft, aloft. That's it. Now you have it. Hold it there right. Hold it there now and pay attention. Old bention, said the old black, with both hands placed as desired, vainly wriggling his grizzled head, as if to get both ears in front at one and the same time. That's not really possible, but at least he's trying. Well then, Cook, you see this whale steak of yours was so very bad that I have put it out of sight as soon as possible. You see that, don't you? Well, for the future, when you cook another whale steak for my private table here, the capstan, I'll tell you what to do so as to not spoil it by overdoing. Hold a steak in one hand and show a live coal to it with the other. That done, dish it. D'ye hear? And now, tomorrow, Cook, when we are cutting in the fish, be sure you stand by to get the tips of his fins. Have them put in pickle. As for the ends of the flukes, have them sauced, Cook. There, now you may go. But Fleece had hardly got 3 paces off when he was recalled. The poor guy. Cook, give me the cutlets for supper tomorrow night in the mid-watch. D'ye hear? Away you sail then. Aloha, stop! Make a bow before you go. Avast heaven again. Whale balls for breakfast, don't forget. Wish by gore, whale eat him. 'Stead of him, eat whale. I'm blessed if he ain't more of a shark than Massa Shark himself. Muttered the old man, limping away, with which sage ejaculation he went to his hammock. He just called Stubb a shark. Oh, that is so funny. That's hilarious. He just called Stubb a shark. Hydrate, everybody. Hydrate. I'm sure this stub is a troll. I'm 100% convinced. He's a troll. Poor Fleece, I mean... An old man. He just wants to sleep, and every time he dismisses him, he calls him back. Oh no. I think we'll find a little bit less tangents going on as we go. Maybe. Although this one seems to be going off on a side quest again. I think I'll read this one because he's talking about what the meat is like over here. Which I think is interesting because I have never tasted whale meat. I didn't even know it was a thing. I know there's such thing as shark fin soup or something like that. But the shark is completely different. Also, why would people want to eat a shark? I don't know. This world is strange, man. It seemed I have gotten muted somehow. I am not going to read that chapter again. In fact, you guys didn't miss anything. In summary, whale meat is too rich to be considered a civilized dish. And you're a murderer for eating steak. There we go. Now you're up to speed. Weird. It could be that I wanted to sneeze or burp or I don't know what, and I forgot to unmute myself. That's also a possibility. But yeah, you guys didn't miss a thing. In fact, I'm glad that whole chapter isn't in the VOD. Right, this one I will read, because I was almost going to skip it. You were doing stuff with your headset? So you didn't realize I had muted myself? Because I do have music playing in the background very softly. I still have like 13 or so minutes before the break, so I'll keep reading. Chapter 66. The Shark Massacre. When in the southern fishery a captured sperm whale, after long and weary toil, is brought alongside late at night, it is not, as a general thing at least, customary to proceed at once to the business of cutting him in. For that business is an exceedingly laborious one, if not very soon completed, and requires all hands to set about it. Therefore, the common usage is to take in all sail, lash the helm a lee, and then send every one below to his hammock till daylight, with the reservation that until that time anchor watches shall be kept, that is 2 and 2 for an hour. Each couple the crew in rotation shall mount the deck to see that all goes well. But sometimes, especially upon the line in the Pacific, this plan will not answer at all, because such uncalculable hosts of sharks gather round the moored carcass, that were he left so for 6 hours, say on a stretch, little more than the skeleton would be visible by morning. In most other parts of the ocean, however, where these fish do not so largely abound, their wondrous ferocity can be at times considerably diminished by vigorously stirring them up with sharp whaling spades, a procedure notwithstanding, which in some instances only seems to tickle them into still greater activity. But it was not thus in the present case with the Pequod's sharks. Though, to be sure, any man unaccustomed to such sights, to have looked over her side that night, would have almost thought the whole round sea was one huge cheese, and those sharks the maggots in it. Nevertheless, upon Stubbs setting the anchor watch after his supper was concluded, and when accordingly Queequeg and the forecastle seamen came on deck, no small excitement was created among the sharks. For immediately suspending the cutting stages over the side, and lowering 3 lanterns so that they cast long gleams of light over the turbid sea, these 2 mariners, darting their long whaling spades, kept up an incessant murdering of the sharks, by striking the keen steel deep into their skulls, seemingly their only vital part. But in the foamy confusion of their mixed and struggling hosts, the marksmen could not always hit their mark, and this brought about new revelations of the incredible ferocity of the foe. They viciously snapped, not only at each other's disembowelments, but, like flexible bows, bent round and bit their own, till those entrails seemed swallowed over and over again by the same mouth, to be oppositely voided by the gaping wound. Nor was this all. It was unsafe to meddle with the corpses and ghosts of these creatures. A sort of generic or pantheistic vitality seemed to lurk in their very joints and bones, after what might be called the individual life had departed, killed and hoisted on deck for the sake of his skin. One of these sharks almost took poor Queequeg's hands off, when he tried to shut down the dead lid of his murderous jaw. "Queequeg, no care what god made him shark," said the savage agonizingly, lifting his hand up and down. "Whether Fiji god or Nantucket god, but the god what made shark must be one Injun." Everything was dead for a while. Like everything? Oh well. Nothing I can do about that now. It's done. Okay, so now this one is where he seems to be explaining the cutting up of the poor whale. Chapter 67. Cutting in. It was a Saturday night, and such a Sabbath as followed. Ex officio professors of Sabbath breaking are all whalemen. Really? Are we starting it like that? The ivory Pequod was turned into what seemed a shamble, every sailor a butcher. You would have thought we were offering up 10,000 red oxen to the sea gods. In the first place, the enormous cutting tackles, among other ponderous things, comprising a cluster of blocks, generally painted green, and which no single man can possibly lift. This vast bunch of grapes was swayed up to the main top and firmly lashed to the lower masthead, the strongest point anywhere above a ship's deck. The end of the hawser-like rope, winding through these intricacies, was then conducted to the windlass, and the huge lower block of the tackles was swung over the whale. To this block the great blubber hook, weighing some 100 pounds, was attached, and now suspended in stages over the side, Starbuck and Stubb, the mates, armed with their long spades, began cutting a hole in the body for the insertion of the hook, just above the nearest of the two side fins. This done, a broad semicircular line is cut round the hole. The hook is inserted in the main body of the crew, striking up a wild chorus. And the main body of the crew, striking up a wild chorus. Now commence heaving in one dense crowd at the windlass, when instantly the entire ship careens over on her side. Every bolt in her starts like the nail-heads of an old house in frosty winter. She trembles, quivers, and nods her frighted mastheads to the sky. More and more she leans over to the whale, while every gasping heave of the windlass is answered by a helping heave from the billows, till at last a swift, startling snap is heard. With a great swash, the ship rolls upwards and backwards from the whale, and triumphantly tackle rises into sight, dragging after it the disengaged semicircular end of the first strip of blubber. Now, as the blubber envelops the whale, precisely as the rind does an orange, so is it stripped off from the body, precisely as an orange is sometimes stripped by spiralizing it. For the strain constantly kept up by the windlass continually keeps the whale rolling over and over in the water, and as the blubber in one strip uniformly peels off along the line called the scarf, simultaneously cut by the spades of Starbuck and Stubb, the mates, and just as fast as it is thus peeled off, and indeed by that very act itself, it is all the time being hoisted higher and higher aloft, till its upper end grazes the main top. The men at the windlass then cease heaving for a moment or two. The prodigious blood-dripping mass sways to and fro, as if let down from the sky, and everyone present must take good heed to dodge it when it swings, else it may box his ears and pitch him headlong overboard. One of the attending harpooneers now advances with a long, keen weapon called a boarding sword, and watching his chance, he dexterously slices out a considerable hole in the lower part of the swaying mass. Into this hole the end of the second alternating great tackle is then hooked so as to retain a hold upon the blubber, in order to prepare for what follows. Whereupon this accomplished swordsman, warning all hands to stand off, once more makes a scientific dash at the mass, and with a few sidelong, desperate, lunging slicings, severs it completely in twain, so that while the short lower part is still fast, the long upper strip, called a blanket piece, swings clear and is all ready for lowering. The heavers forward now resume their song, and while the one tackle is peeling and hoisting a second strip from the whale, the other is slowly slackened away, and down goes the first strip through the main hatchway right beneath, into an unfurnished parlor called the blubber room. Into this twilight apartment sundry nimble hands keep coiling away the long blanket piece, as if it were a great live mass of plaited serpents. And thus the work proceeds, the two tackles hoisting and lowering simultaneously, both whale and windlass heaving, and heavers singing, the blubber room gentlemen coiling, the mates scarfing, The ship's straining, and all hands swearing occasionally, by way of assuging the general friction. That is quite the operation. So now they're skinning the poor whale. Essentially. They're peeling him like an orange. Alrighty, and this is where we shall take our break. There we go. The blanket. The funeral. The Sphinx. I might skip this one. I don't know. We'll see. I'll do a better look once I get to it. There we go. It is slow, but we are indeed making progress. Alrighty folks, it be time. It be time for our break. Let us go and grab ourselves something to eat, rest our voices, catch our breath, stretch out our limbs a little bit, get something to eat, and something to drink. And I shall see you guys after the break. Break time indeed, the data. Break time indeed. Today's break was a little bit late, but that's because I started late. So, I shall see you all after this short break. Go and have yourself something to eat. Let me know what you got. I have a pie waiting for me. So, I'm going to attack that, and I'll probably have another cup of coffee. Or maybe a tea. I don't know. I will decide. See you after the break. BRB. I'm getting tired. Hello, everybody. Welcome back from the break. Apparently, we ran out of music mid break. That's okay, we've got more. Mm, Not muted this time. No, not muted this time. Welcome back, Data. Did you have a snack while we was away? Phew, this is really hurting. Don't know why it's hurting. Not red, but it's hurting. You just okay, just your meds. Okay. Cool. Well, I had my pie, and I did decide to have some tea. Thus the pretty white cup. I wonder if I shouldn't just finish this book on recording. Instead of spending another full week just reading. Trying to listen to this music. It's very low. We'll see if it. We'll see. We'll see if it gets louder. But it's suspenseful retro wave. Apparently. And drink, obviously, because I can't take my meds without liquid. But I used to have a boring party trick, though. You used to have a boring party trick? Well, I didn't have a party trick. I was never invited to parties. So do share your boring party trick. It might not be that boring. Alrighty, back to the book. There we go. Chapter. You could eat meds? My mom also did that with her meds. Aside from just thinking how medicines taste, Aside from that, it's not good for one's teeth. And my mom used to do that with some of her medications. And I'm like, why? She said she did it because two reasons. One, she's always in a rush. And two, zero patience. So taking a sip of water was too much. And thankfully she stopped that many years ago when I was still a little itty bitty. But I mean, yeah, that's not even a party trick. That's just something you do out of, I don't know, necessity or something. Nasty, yeah. And yeah, just taking it straight up like that without water to carry it around is not good for your liver either, yeah. I didn't even think about the liver, but you've got a good point there, Data. And on that note, I'll have another sip of my tea. Well, what did I see now? Oh yeah, the little picture here, or a thumbnail. Reminds me of my, what do you mean? Of my little Minecraft character. I haven't even started reading it. My tongue's already twisting. Anyway, this weekend, on Sunday, during the Minecraft community session, we shall have scaries. As in kabooms chasing you, skellies shooting you, speeders running around. It's gonna be interesting. I'm kind of glad I can't do it anymore. That is great. It's better, and also medicines are formulated to be drank with water, or if you don't want water, at least something close to it. BS2? What is BS2? Oh, Bioshock. What, the music? Does it remind you of Bioshock? Alrighty. Yes. Carry on. Okay. Chapter 68. The blanket. Sounds so cozy, but it's not that kind of blanket. Unfortunately. Nope, I just thought you were gonna jump in next week for some reason. What, in Bioshock? I still need to install those. I still need to finish the games I'm currently busy with. I've got too many games going at the moment. And once I've finished one of the games, then I'm gonna bring in Star Trek Online. I read that, and then this brain said live. Star Trek Online, and then once I've finished another game, then I'm going to... There was another one that I was going to bring in. But yeah, that's not set in stone. So yeah, I could probably bring Bioshock in at some point, maybe. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm thinking seriously about this now. I think I'm going to record, you know, like this, but just read flat out and then upload to YouTube so that I can open up a spot in the week. No, you're not forcing me to do anything. I mean, I have those games now for what, almost 2 years, and I haven't touched them. It's about time I do. I don't know if they are family friendly enough. Like, what age rating would you give Bioshock? Because I'll stream it, but I'll need to have an age rating to put in the title. It's similar with Doom, and I can't remember if I gave an age rating to Wolfenstein. I think I did. Yeah, I've already forgotten what games I had in mind to bring in, you know, the order. Because silly old me didn't write them down in the order I wanted to bring them in on. So, there is room, there is flexibility. Room for flexibility. I mean, I'm really curious about those games, so... It's about time I touch them, you know? Yeah. Let us carry on then, shall we? Because I am stalling and I don't have much time left on stream. So let us continue. The blanket. I've given no small attention to that not unvexed subject, the skin of the whale. I have had controversies about it with experienced whalemen afloat, and learned naturals ashore. My original opinion remains unchanged, but it is only an opinion. The question is, what and where is the skin of the whale? Already you know what his blubber is. That blubber is something of the consistence of firm, close-grained beef, but tougher, more elastic and compact, and ranges from 8 or 10 to 12 and 15 inches in thickness. Now, however preposterous it may be, it may at first seem to talk of any creature's skin as being of that sort of consistence and thickness, yet in point of fact there are no arguments against such a presumption, because you cannot raise any other dense enveloping layer from the whale's body but that same blubber. And the outermost enveloping layer of an animal, if reasonably dense, what can that be but the skin? True, from the unmarred dead body of the whale, you may scrape off with your hand an infinitely thin, transparent substance, somewhat resembling the thinnest shreds of isinglass. Only it is almost as flexible and soft as satin. That is, previous to being dried, when it not only contracts and thickens, but becomes rather hard and brittle. I have several such dried bits, which I use for marks with my whale books. It is transparent, as I said before, and being laid upon the printed page, I have sometimes pleased myself with fancying it exerting a magnifying influence. At any rate, it is pleasant to read about whales through their own spectacles, as you may say. But what I am driving at here is this. That same infinitely thin isinglass substance, blah-de-blah-de-blah. The Funeral, Chapter 69. No, play what you enjoy. They are for mid-teens, but a bit gory animation sometimes. But the third one is a tiny bit... resist. Okay, so mid-teens. So... PG-16. I think that's a fair judgment. Because based on the gameplay, I would say about the same thing, yeah. It can make you jump sometimes? You think it will make me jump? You think it'll make me jump, Data? I haven't really found a game that truly scared me. Make me jump, yeah, I guess. Jump scares, so on, if done right, can catch me off guard a little bit. Or you getting really good with your buzzer. You're not sure, but you refuse to spoil. Nabbit. And here I thought I could get a few insights into what's waiting for me. You're too strong for me, Data. You're too strong. Alrighty, let us continue then. The Funeral. Haul in the chains, let the carcass go astern. The vast tackles have now done their duty. The peeled white body of the beheaded whale flashes like a marble sepulchre, though changed in hue. it has not perceptibly lost anything in bulk. It is still colossal. Slowly it floats more and more away, the water round it torn and splashed by the insatiate sharks, and the air above vexed with rapacious flights of screaming fowls, whose beaks are like so many insulting poniards in the whale. The vast white headless phantom floats further and further from the ship, and every rod that it so floats, what seem square roods of sharks and cubic roods of fowls augment the murderous din. For hours and hours from the almost stationary ship, that hideous sight is seen. Beneath the unclouded and mild azure sky, upon the fair face of the pleasant sea, wafted by the joyous breezes, that great mass of death floats on and on, till lost in infinite perspectives. There's a most doleful and most mocking funeral. The sea vultures all in pious mourning, the air sharks all punctiliously in black or speckled. In life but few of them would have helped the whale, I ween, if peradventure he had needed it. Another one skipped. You are a mud. Is that where your strength comes from, dear Data? It's part of my job. I see, Data, I see. Alright. Many chapters skipped today. Hopefully we are actually getting on track with our search of Moby Dick. Chapter 71. The Jeroboam's Story. Hand in hand, ship and breeze blew on. But the breeze came faster than the ship, and soon the Pequod began to rock. By and by through the glass, the stranger's boat and manned mastheads proved her a whale ship. But as she was so far to windward, and shooting by, apparently making a passage to some other ground, the Pequod could not hope to reach her. So the signal was set to see what response would be made. Here be it said that like the vessels of military marines, the ships of the American whale fleet have each a private signal, all which signals being collected in a book with the names of the respective vessels attached. Every captain is provided with it. Thereby the whale commanders are enabled to recognize each other upon the ocean, even at considerable distance, and with no small facility. The Pequod's signal was at last responded to by the strangers, setting her own, which proved the ship to be the Jeroboam of Nantucket. Squaring her yards, she bore down, ranged abeam under the Pequod's lee, and lowered a boat. It soon drew nigh, but as the side ladder was being rigged by Starbuck's order to accommodate the visiting captain, the stranger in question waved his hand from his boat's stern in token of that proceeding being entirely unnecessary. It turned out that the Jeroboam had a malignant epidemic on board, and that Mayhew, her captain, was fearful of infecting the Pequod's company. For though himself and the boat's crew remained untainted, and though his ship was half a rifle shot off and an incorruptible sea and air rolling and flowing between, yet conscientiously adhering to the timid quarantine of the land, he peremptorily refused to come into direct contact with the Pequod. But this by no means prevent all communications. Preserving an interval of some few yards between itself and the ship, the Jeroboam's boat, by the occasional use of its oars, contrived to keep parallel to the Pequod, as she heavily forged through the sea, for by this time it blew very fresh, with her main upsail aback, though indeed at times by the sudden onset of a large rolling wave the boat will be pushed some way ahead, but would be soon skillfully brought to her proper bearings again. Subject to this and other the like interruptions, now and then a conversation was sustained between the two parties, but at intervals not without still another interruption of a very different sort. Pulling an oar in the Jeroboam's boat was a man of a singular appearance, even in that wild whaling life where individual notabilities make up all totalities. He was a small, short, youngish man, sprinkled all over his face with freckles, and wearing redundant yellow hair. A long-skirted, cabalistically cut coat and a faded walnut tinge enveloped him, the overlapping sleeves of which were rolled up to his wrists. A deep, settled, fanatic delirium was in his eyes. So soon as this figure had been first descried, Stubb had exclaimed, "That's he! That's he! The long-togged scaramouche the town hose company told us of." Stubb here alluded to a strange story told above of the Jeroboam and a certain man among her crew, some time previous when the Pequod spoke the town ho. According to this account and what was subsequently learned, it seemed that the scaramouche in question had gained a wonderful ascendancy over almost everybody in the Jeroboam. His story was this. He had been originally nurtured among the crazy society of Neskiuna Shakers, where he had been a great prophet in their cracked secret meetings, having several times descended from heaven by the way of a trap door, announcing the speedy opening of the 7th vial, which he carried in his vest pocket, but which, instead of containing gunpowder, was supposed to be charged with laudanum. "Jen, hello, welcome in," or Jenny, as your new name is. How is you? You missed out. I skipped several chapters today. You can ask later. But how's be you, my dear friend? A strange apostolic whim having seized him, he had left Neskina for Nantucket, where, with that cunning peculiar to craziness, he assumed a steady common-sense exterior, and offered himself as a green-hand candidate for the Jeroboam's whaling voyage. Jenny from the block, or in a more normal way, "Hi, Jen." They engaged him, but straightway upon the ship's getting out of sight of land, his insanity broke out in a freshet. He announced himself as the Archangel Gabriel and commanded the captain to jump overboard. He published his manifesto, whereby he set himself forth as the deliverer of the isles of the sea and vicar general of all Oceanica. The unflinching earnestness with which he declared these things, the dark, daring play of his sleepless, excited imagination, and all the preternatural terrors of real delirium united to invest this Gabriel in the minds of the majority of the ignorant crew with an atmosphere of sacredness. Moreover, they were afraid of him. As such a man, however, was not of much practical use in the ship, especially as he refused to work except when he pleased. The incredulous captain would fain have been rid of him, but apprised that individual's intention was to land him in the first convenient port, the Archangel forthwith opened all his sails and vials, devoting the ship and all hands to unconditional perdition, in case this intention was carried out. So strongly did he work upon his disciples among the crew, that at last in a body they went to the captain and told him if Gabriel was sent from the ship, not a man of them would remain. He was therefore forced to relinquish his plan, nor would they permit Gabriel to be any way maltreated, say or do what he would, so that it came to pass that Gabriel had the complete freedom of the ship. The consequence of all this was that the Archangel cared little or nothing for the captain and mates, and since the epidemic had broken out, he carried a higher hand than ever, declaring that the plague, as he called it, was at his sole command, nor should it be stayed but according to his good pleasure. This guy is nuts. The sailors, mostly poor devils, cringed, and some of them fawned before him, in obedience to his instructions, sometimes rendering him personal homage as to a god. Such things may seem incredible, but, however wondrous, they are true. Nor is the history of fanatics half so striking in respect to the measureless self-deception of the fanatic himself, as his measureless power of deceiving and bedeviling so many others. But it is time to return to the Pequod. Oh, thank goodness. I was wondering when that was gonna happen. Now, I used to have a little, and now I have a lot too. In Christ, amen. Nice. Could use a little of the other Jenny money, though, just a fraction. Alrighty. I fear not thy epidemic, man, said Ahab from the bulwarks to Captain Mayhew, who stood in the boat's stern. Come on board. But now Gabriel started to his feet. So now we have a picture here again, trying to figure out what is going on. Okay, so we've got two people, and then this guy, and then this dude. Okay. Think of the fevers, yellow and bilious. Beware of the horrible plague. Gabriel, cried Captain Mayhew, thou must either. But that instant a headlong wave shot the boat far ahead, and its seethings drowned all speech. Hast thou seen the white whale? Demanded Ahab when the boat drifted back. Think of thy whaleboat stoven and sunk. Beware of the horrible tale. I tell thee again, Gabriel, that, but again the boat tore ahead, as if dragged by fiends. Nothing was said for some moments, while a succession of riotous waves rolled by, which by one of those occasional caprices of the seas were tumbling, not heaving, it. Meanwhile, the hoisted sperm whale's head had jogged about very violently, and Gabriel was seen eyeing it with a rather more apprehensiveness than his archangel nature seemed to warrant. When this interlude was over, Captain Mayhew began a dark story concerning Moby Dick. Not, however, without frequent interruptions from Gabriel, whenever his name was mentioned, and the crazy sea that seemed leagued with him. It seemed that the Jeroboam had not long left home when, upon speaking a whale ship, her people were reliably apprised of the existence of Moby Dick, and the havoc he had made. Greedily sucking in his intelligence, Gabriel solemnly warned the captain against attacking the white whale, in case the monster should be seen. In his gibbering insanity, pronouncing the white whale to be no less a being than the Shaker god incarnate. incarnated. The Shakers receiving the Bible. But when, some year or two afterwards, Moby Dick was fairly sighted from the mastheads, Macy, the chief mate, burned with ardor to encounter him, and the captain himself, being not unwilling to let him have the opportunity, despite all the archangel's denunciations and forewarnings, Macy succeeded in persuading 5 men to man his boat. With them he pushed off, and after much weary pulling and many perilous unsuccessful onsets, he at last succeeded in getting one iron fast. Meanwhile, Gabriel, ascending to the main royal masthead, was tossing one arm in frantic gestures. And hurling forth prophecies of speedy doom to the sacrilegious assailants of his divinity. Now while Macy, the mate, was standing up in his boat's bow and with all the reckless energy of his tribe was venting his wild exclamations upon the whale, and essaying to get a fair chance for his poised lance, lo, a broad white shadow rose from the sea, by its quick fanning motion, temporarily taking the breath out of the bodies of the oarsmen. Next instant, the luckless mate was full of furious life, was smitten bodily into the air, not the water, and making a long arch in his descent, fell into the sea at the distance of about 50 yards. Not a chip of the boat was harmed, nor a hair of any oarsman's head, but the mate forever sank. It is well to parenthesize there that of the fatal accidents in the sperm whale fishery, this kind is perhaps almost as frequent as any. Sometimes nothing is injured but the man who is thus annihilated. Oftener the boat's bow is knocked off, or the thigh board, on which the headsman stands, is torn from its place and accompanies the body. But strangest of all is the circumstance, that in more instances than one, when the body has been recovered, not a single mark of violence is discernible, the man being stark dead. That is interesting. Peaceful at the moment? Ah, cool. The whole calamity with the falling form of Macy was plainly descried from the ship. Rising a piercing shriek, "The vial! The vial!" Gabriel called off the terror-stricken crew from the further hunting of the whale. This terrible event clothed the archangel with added influence, because his credulous disciples believed that he had specifically foreannounced it, instead of only making a general prophecy, which anyone might have done, and so have chanced to hit one of many marks in the wide margin allowed. He became a nameless terror to the ship. Mayhew, having concluded his narration, Ahab put such questions to him that the stranger captain could not forbear inquiring whether he intended to hunt the white whale, if opportunity should offer. To which Ahab answered, "Aye." Straightway then Gabriel once more started to his feet, glaring upon the old man, and vehemently exclaimed, that downward pointed finger, "Think of the blasphemer, dead and down there. Beware of the blasphemer's end." He might be a nutball, but I think his warnings about Moby Dick might be might be correct. I just have a feeling, you know. I just have a feeling. Ahab stolidly turned aside, then said to Mayhew, "Captain, I have just bethought me of my letter bag. There is a letter for one of thy officers, if I mistake not. Starbuck, look over the bag." Every whale ship takes out a goodly number of letters for various ships, whose delivery to the persons to whom they may be addressed depends on the mere chance of encountering them in the four seas. Thus most letters never reach their mark, and many are only received after attaining an age or two of 2 or 3 years or more. Soon Starbuck returned with the letter in his hand. It was sorely tumbled, damp, and covered with a dull spotted green mold in consequence of being kept in a dark locker of the cabin. Of such a letter, Death himself might well have been the postboy. Canst not read it?" cried Ahab. "Give it me, man." "Aye, aye. It's but a dim scroll." "What's this?" As he was studying it out, Starbuck took a long cutting spade pole, and with his knife slightly split the end to insert the letter there, and in that way hand it to the boat, without its coming any closer to the ship. Meantime, Ahab, holding the letter, muttered, "Mr. Har, yes, Mr. Harry." A woman's piney hand, the man's wife, I'll wager. "Aye, Mr. Harry Macy, ship Jeroboam. Why, it's Macy, and he's dead. Poor fellow, and from his wife?" Signed Mayhew. "But let me have it." "Nay, keep it thyself," cried Gabriel to Ahab. "Thou art soon going that way." "Curses throttle thee," yelled Ahab. "Captain Mayhew, stand by now to receive it." And taking the fatal missive from Starbuck's hand, he caught it in the slit of the pole and reached it over towards the boat. But as he did so, the oarsmen expectantly desisted from rowing. The boat drifted a little towards the ship's stern, so that as if by magic the letter suddenly ranged along with Gabriel's eager hand. He clutched it in an instant, seized the boat knife, and impaling the letter on it, sent it thus loaded back into the ship. It fell at Ahab's feet. Then Gabriel shrieked out to his comrades to give way with their oars, and in that manner the mutinous boat rapidly shot away from the Pequod. As after this interlude, the seamen resumed their work upon the jacket of the whale, many strange things were hinted in reference to this wild affair. One, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, can I? 5 minutes is a little bit low. Yeah, okay. I think I'm then done for today. Even though I was stalling, along with the skip chapters. We actually got a fair way. So it's okay.
Why are you following me?
Thank you for the follow, Seam. I'm gonna call you Seam if that's alright. Or is that See Me? But welcome in! Hello, hello. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Wolfcat clan. Oh, we're getting there. We are going closer to the end. You're Sarah, but yes, Seam. And but I will not remember your name is Sarah. Oh, welcome in. How did you find me? I'm a... Oh, okay. I'm saying it right. Alright, that's cool. That's cool. It helps to know that I'm saying it right. Awesome. You just looked up books and I was the first one to pop up? Ooh, well, welcome, welcome. You caught me right at the end, though. I'm about to raid out. But it's good to meet you. Thank you for the follow. I have, as you can tell, this is part 11. It is part 11, right? Yeah. So there is 11 parts so far, streams, 11 streams of me reading Moby Dick. I will be posting this weekend to my YouTube. If you are interested to see me struggle reading this book. Nice to meet me as well. You're sure you will catch me live again? Yes, I will be live again next week, Monday. I stream from Monday to Thursday. Thank you for that data. Deeds indeed. I was a little bit slow this past 2 weeks with my uploads, but this weekend I am planning on uploading all the reading I've done of Moby Dick so far. And they will be in playlists, so if you just look in the playlists and you'll find you'll find it there if you're looking for something specific. There we go. Now we are in the chatting room. Feels a little bit better. Alrighty, who shall we raid out to today? There goes my alarm to end stream. I think we have our target He literally just started his stream. He's going to play a game called The Room. It's the first time I see him play this game, so we'll be catching him early in this game. Which is kind of cool. Then we can join him in his adventures in this game. You found my YouTube and subscribed. Oh, thank you. I appreciate the subscription there. Much, much appreciated. I hope you enjoy the live stream content that's archived there. I do try to make some edited videos every once in a while. You know, just to experiment and play and so on. It's not very many, but they are there. Alrighty. I'm not sure if I've made him a shouty button yet. I don't think I have. Nope. I have to work on these darn buttons. I just don't get to them. It's... Alright. Manual it is. Get my keyboard. You. If you like, if you enjoy people reading books, see, I have a few people that I can shout out for you to check out. I know of at least one. What was he reading earlier today? Can't remember. Oh my goodness, Data! Thank you for the gifted sub. Let's go! I'm sure they will enjoy all the cool emotes and the ad-free viewing. Much appreciated, friend. I'm sure they'll enjoy it. Nice, nice. Hype, let's go. Gift sub hype. Alrighty. I'm going to shout out our lucky target. There we go. Or like I like to call them sometimes, our lucky victims. Because we will be smuggling them halfway to death. Unrecognized command. Ooh. Yes, of course. I did it completely wrong. Of course it will not recognize the command. There we go. Our good friend Rekdaholz. He's now currently busy with his very first puzzle, but I'm sure it's gonna be fun because he's busy with some sort of cylinder on a table. Here is the raid message. Give that a sneaky little copy. And I will as well. And we shall go and paste it in his chat. And let us go and show him some love. Give him a couple of smothering cuddles, shall we? There we go, there we go. From the cozy stream to the puzzle stream. Let's go! Thank you all for being here and witnessing my struggle to keep my patience with this book. And also experiencing multiple chapter skips all at once. And the tongue twistings, even when I'm not reading. But yeah, I'm tired now. This book just takes it out of me. Makes me quite tired. But thank you all for being here. I appreciate the time you all spend with me. I hope you all have a fantastic and wonderful rest of your day, morning, afternoon, evening. May it be cozy. And I'll see you guys again next week. And I'm not going to make it a reading week. I don't know if I'm going to be just recording my reading and then posting it to YouTube. Because I'm tired of streaming myself reading this book. I'm getting tired of it. But up until I've completely decided we will have it back to its usual time slot of, I think it's Tuesday. I'll be reading Moby Dick again. Let me just check out my own what you call it? Schedule here on Discord. Yeah, Tuesday. So Monday night we'll be back next week to the regular schedule. Monday night Hollow Knight. Tuesday will be Moby Dick. Wednesday will be Porsche and Subnautica once again, and on Thursday we will be back with full-on Subnautica gameplay. There we go. So there we are, and see you again then next week, Monday, for some Hollow Knight action. Take care, everybody, and let's go and show some love to Wreck the Halls. See ya on the next one. God bless you all. Mwah. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.